Hello, 6th graders. It's time to start geometry. Geometry, we're going to first start with Chapter 7. And Chapter 7 deals with angles. Before we do anything, I want to make sure you can name an angle. Now, in your notes, wherever you take your notes, I want you to make this important. Put a circle around it. Put a star around it. Here's what I want you to write. An angle can be named with 1 or 3 letters. An angle can be named with 1 or 3 letters. Now, it's very important you understand, though, which angles you can use 1 and 3 letters for. Now, I just put here a picture. This picture represents 2 squares. Now, as you can see, we have vertices, A, C, D, and F. And we also have other points, B and E. There are many angles here, but you cannot name them all by just one letter. For example, angle A. Angle A is this angle right here. And we can name it angle A. Angle F is the measure from one ray to another. So this is the angle right here, formed by vertex F. And we can call this angle F. We can also name angle C, which is over here by angle C. But B, E, and D, we cannot say, for example, angle D. And the reason why we cannot say angle D is because we have multiple angles that have the same vertex. For example, I don't know by angle D if you mean this angle here, or the entire angle. Because more than one ray or segment forms that vertex and there's more than one angle, you can't name it angle D. You have to use 3 letters. So here's how you name it with 3 letters. The vertex, and in this case D, has to be in the middle of the 3 letters. The points on either side could be B and E. So I could actually name this angle here, angle B, B, D, E. B, D, E. I could also name it angle E, D, B. Either one of these are acceptable. Now I cannot name it angle DBE because DBE will be this angle up here. The vertex, which here is D, has to be the center letter. So if I wanted you to name this angle here, from here to here, how would you say it? You could either read it angle CBD or angle DBC. We have a point C and point D on either side of the vertex point, which is point B. So here's our key idea. Our key ideas involve 2 separate types of angles, adjacent angles and vertical angles. Now here, these are pretty easy, but once again, they're vocab words that you must know and be able to identify. Adjacent angles. 2 adjacent angles are angles that share a common side and have the same vertex. So for example, I'm just going to draw this up here. A common side and a common vertex. So for example, here's my vertex. They share a common side, which in this case is this ray. So I could say angles 1 and 2 are adjacent. They're next to each other. A lot of people think they're next to each other, which they are. But make note they share a common side and a vertex. So if you look at this problem, angles 1 and 2 are adjacent. They share the vertex and a common side. Now, angles 2 and 4 are not adjacent. Now, if we look, angle 2 and angle 4 do share the same vertex, but they are across from each other. They are not sharing the same side. Now, we have other angles that are adjacent here. Angles 2 and 3 are adjacent. Angle 3 and angle 4 are adjacent. And angle 1 and angle 4 are also adjacent. Vertical angles. Vertical angles are two angles that are opposite angles formed by the intersection of two lines. Vertical angles must be congruent. Vertical angles are congruent, which means they have the same measure. Now, by the way, my suggestion would be in geometry, actually I'm going to tell you, you need to do this. You need to have a separate list with these vocab words written down. Please make sure you have a vocab list somewhere in your notes. So in this angle, or in these angles here, angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical angles. Now these arc marks and ARC, this shows that they are congruent. Because I have one arc in 1 and 3, they're congruent, and two arcs showing these two mean they're also congruent. Angle 1 and angle 3 share a vertex, and they're across from each other. They are vertical, which means they are congruent. Angle 2 and 4 are also vertical angles. All right, in example 1, we have this figure. In A, I want you to name a pair of adjacent angles, and in B, I want you to name a pair of vertical angles. Now, first off, am I able to use angle B for any of these angles? No, because we have multiple angles that have a vertex B. So we have to use 3 angles. Make note that you only need to have one pair of adjacent angles. There are numerous angles that are here. So I'm going to first point or look at, let me actually highlight them red. I could say this angle here and this angle here are adjacent. They share a side and vertex. So I could say angles ABF and angles FBE are vertical. ABF, FBE, they share the side, which is ray BF. Next, I could say another one. I'm going to use green. I could say this angle here and this angle here. Notice they share the same side and vertex. So I could say angle ABE and angle EBD. Let's find one more. I could say this angle here and this angle. Now there's actually many other answers as well. It's hard to see here, but there, right there, is your common side and vertex. So I could say angle ABC and angle CBE. Any one of those would be acceptable. Now I'm going to erase these. Actually, let me put a new picture up for part B. So part B, name a pair of vertical angles. This is hard for students to do sometimes. Vertical angles are only formed when you have two lines. We only have two lines that are here. We have line AD, or line AB, or line BD, however you want to name it, and line FC. This part right here does not make anything with vertical angles because it's not a line. So I could name one of two answers here. Now I'm going to mark them with tick marks. I could say those two angles or these two angles. So I could say angle FBA, which is the green arc, and angle DBC. Now once again, you could be naming these angle ABF instead of angle FBA as long as angle B is the middle letter. I could also say the other set of angles, which are represented by the red tick or the red arc marks, angle FBD and angle ABC. In example 2, we're going to tell whether these angles are adjacent or vertical, and then we're going to find the value of x. Step 1. Right off the bat, I can see that the first set of angles are formed because they're across from each other and they're formed by two lines. Therefore, these are vertical. We know vertical angles are congruent, so we know x has to equal 70 degrees. They're equal to each other. In part B, I have a 31 degree angle and an x plus 4 degree angle. They share the same side, which is this ray right there, and they share the same vertex. Therefore, they are adjacent. Because they form a 90 degree angle, that means I can add them together, and that would give me 90 degrees. I now solve my equation, which should be really easy. We add 31 and 4, which is 35. I subtract 35 on both sides by using the subtraction property, and the value of x would be 55. Now, example 3, you don't need to write this down, but tomorrow you're going to be using a protractor to draw angles. So in example 3, we're going to draw a pair of vertical angles with a measure of 40 degrees. So step 1 is using your protractor. Now your vertex goes right here. And then we draw the straight line. We line it up with this crosshair. The crosshair is right here. And then we use the 40 degrees. Now you should know, I'm hoping you know, that 40 degrees is an acute angle. So therefore we use this 40, not the 40 over here, because this 40 would make it an obtuse angle, which we do not want. And it'd actually be 140 degrees. So we draw this angle, which is this angle right here, and then we just use a straight edge to extend these past the vertex to form intersecting lines. At the end of every video, I'm going to give you a list of vocab words that you should be putting in your notes on a daily basis. We have 8 vocab words here. The first 4, obtuse, acute, right, and straight, are from previous courses, so you should have learned these in elementary school. Adjacent, vertical, and congruent are the ones you learned today.